This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Bruchim habayim, agitavach, agizintavach, amazel dekavach. Tonight, Matzai Shabbos, Yom Rishon, is Chav Tes Sivan. Chav Tes Sivan is a very significant day on the Jewish calendar. Let's explain why. We know that because of the Chid HaMeraglim, 600,000 Jews between the age of 20 and 60 were supposed to die out in the Midbar. And every year, in fact, on Tisha B'Av, 15,000 Jews did not wake up in the morning. All the Jews dug their own grave, and every Tisha B'Av, 15,000 Jews died. But interestingly, the Gemara tells us the last year, the 40th year, the remaining 15,000 Jews did not die on Tisha B'Av. Why were there 15,000 survivors? Let's try to explain this. This is a new Chidush. You know, it's interesting, there's a Medrash Pliya. The Medrash Pliya says, why was the Samach Mem, why was it successful in getting the Meraglim to create havoc and to sin? Because it took place Bimei Bikurei Anavim, in the days of the ripening of the grapes. What does it mean in the days of the ripening of the grapes? What does the Medrash Pliya mean? So Reb Shamshin Me'ashtapol has a wondrous revelation. He says, Bikurei Anavim, Bikurei means early, preceding. The letters preceding Anavim. What precedes Anavim? Before an Ayin is Samach, before a Nun is Mem, before a Vez is Aleph, before a Mem is Lamed. The letters before Ayin, Nun, Vez, Mem, before Anavim is Samach, Mem, Aleph, Lamed, which is the name of the Samach Mem, the name of the angel of disaster, of doom, of Tumah, the Malach HaMaves. The Reb Shamshin Nashapol says, the Zohar teaches there are 3 months of the year that are in the domain of the Samach Mem. Teves, Tammuz, and Av. And because the vast majority of the days that the Meraglim traveled, they left today, Chav Tes Sivan. They traveled for 40 days. 39 of those 40 days were during the month of Tammuz and Av. Therefore, says Reb Shamshin Nashapoli, that is why they were successful in sin. That's why the Yetzer Hara got the Meraglim to create havoc with their sin, because the majority of their activity took place during the month of Tammuz and Av, the month of the Samach Mem. That's what the Medrash Pliya means, because it was Yemei Bikurei Anavim, the days of the Samach Mem Aleph Lamed. Therefore, they were successful in sinning. By the way, the Chida in many places asks that Anavim is spelled Ayin Nun Vez Yud Mem. What do you do with the Yud? The letter before Yud is Tes. So this is a big discussion in the writings of the Chida. The Chida says that, well, the Yud may only be there to denote a Nekuda, a Chirik. The Kanfei Yoina teaches that sometimes a letter only denotes a Nekuda. Elsewhere, the Chida says that maybe there's a concept that there's a Mesifta de Rakia and a Mesifta de Lasater. There's a yeshiva down here in this world, a yeshiva upstairs in Shamayim. Based on that, the Bnei Yissaschar says that perhaps in the Shamayim it's spelled Ayin Nun Vez Mem without a Yud, because in the Shamayim the Satan has no Shlita, so we don't have to be worried about being Merames to the Samach Mem. But down here in this world, we have to spell it with a Yud because we're too afraid of outright alluding to the Samach Mem. However, the Chida also gives another answer, and that is that the Yud actually is there, and the letter before Yud is Tes, and that's because the Samach Mem has Shlita on Tes, on Tisha B'Av. But be it as it may, says Reb Shamshin Me'ashtapoli, but not all 40 days were during Tammuz and Av. The first day was in the month of Sivan. Says Reb Shamshin Me'ashtapoli, this is the Kavanah of Rashi. Kula manoshim, kol anoshim shebemikra lashon chashivos, malamed shebaoisa shak sherim hayu. At that time, meaning day one, they were still kosher. You know why they were kosher on day one? Because on day one, it was in Chodesh Sivan, and the Samach Mem had no shlita on Sivan. Only 31 days of Tammuz, and then the 9 days of Av. Only the 30 days of Tammuz and the 9 days of Av. But he didn't have shlita. He didn't have shlita in the month of Sivan. And that's why Ba'isa Shah, on that day they were kosher. So we could say as follows, a wondrous chiddush, that in fact for every day of the traveling of the Meraglim, 15,000 Jews had to die. but only the travel during the month of Tammuz and the month of Av, they were sinning. So for those 39 days, 15,000 Jews had to die per day. But we could say, a chidush, that for Chavtes Sivan, tonight, where the Meraglim were still Boisa Shak Shiurim Hayu, so that's why 15,000 Jews were spared in the 40th year. So tonight is Chavtes Sivan. And for us personally, it's also a special occasion. Tonight we are launching the campaign in honor to benefit our Beis Medrash and Torah Center, Machon Magid Harakia. And it's a humble headquarters where Torah is disseminated very far, in many, many locations, beyond the confines of our Beis Medrash. But like we learned in this week's Parsha, what's the source of minyan? The source of minyan is Meraglim. Why would we learn out minyan from the Meraglim? It's because if 10 people could destroy the Beis HaMikdash, if one group of people could cause so much disaster and devastation, then it just takes one minyan to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash and rebuild the Jewish world. And that's how we're trying to accomplish in our shul, Mechon Magid Harakia, Kilas Tferes Mordechai. Baruch Hashem, B'siyata D'Shmaya. We don't have talking in our Beis Medrash, and we guard it very zealously. Baruch Hashem, we don't have phones allowed in our Beis Medrash, because Mishnah Berurah teaches that even though all the shuls will go to Eretz Yisrael, la'aseh lavai, not shuls where they're speaking. So we want to make sure that our shul has eternal endurance. So please be mishtatef in this Makom Kadosh, a Makom that Be'ezus Hashem will be elevated and travel to Eretz Yisrael and be part of the Artseinu HaKadosha. Thank you for your friendship and support. Wishing everyone bracha v'atzlacha, agitavach, agizintavach, a mazel dikavach. Charity campaign begins this evening. Charity.com/MMH. Charity.com/MMH. Bracha v'atzlacha.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.